Retirement planning isn't about one thing. It's about many things working together, like reducing your taxes, maximizing your Social Security benefits, safely generating income, and estate planning. And when everything works together, it can put you in the fast lane to becoming financially independent. You've seen him featured in Bloomberg Business, Fortune, Money, and other publications throughout Los Angeles and Palm Springs. Broadcasting from the Inland Empire, it's Rick Rivera and the Big Picture Retirement Show.
Welcome into the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. I'm Mark Elliott. Glad you're with us. Rick is a partner at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, along with Reed Abedin, Eddie Soda. You can always go to the website to learn more, safeguardinvestment.com. Find out about events they've got coming up, Social Security works, all the workshops that they do on all things you can think about when it comes to retirement, because it's about income. Do you have enough? Can you retire? Will it last as long as you need it to? Investments, are you taking the right amount of risk? Everybody's situation is unique to them, and that's how Rick and the team at Safeguard look at it. What about taxes? What about health care and long-term care, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, all those parts you have to deal with in retirement? Why not have somebody walking side by side with you? Your own personal chief financial officer or your personal wealth coach, if you will. Rick and the team at Safeguard are here to help guide you if you would like that. It's 800-700-1980, no cost, no obligation, 800-700-1980. Rick, how are you? Ready to go?
Doing real good, Mark. Appreciate it.
So we know there's a lot of things going on in the world right now. Overseas, in our own country, everybody loves presidential election years. They're just so fun.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of moving parts going on right now, I think, in our country. So the bottom line is this. You either have enough to retire or you don't. But the question is, Rick, what about those that are pretty close but not quite there? They probably, they come in and sit down with you and you go, boy, you're really close, but I think maybe you need to work a couple more years. If we haven't saved enough, how do you analyze that type of a situation?
Here's the thing. What we have to do is, keep things realistic with the client and sit down with them, analyze, okay, we know you haven't saved enough. We have to figure out what direction does this client want to go? Where do they want to be? So what we do is we take an inventory as to where they are at now. Once we understand where they're at now, and then we understand, okay, what direction do you want to go? Once we understand the direction that they want to go, whatever the goals are in retirement or whatever the objectives are, then we have to then analyze and figure out, okay, what are the gaps that we have to fill? So when we say, they didn't save enough for retirement, I need to figure out what is that gap? What is that shortfall? And then how are we going to plug in and how we're going to fill in that gap? Depending upon how wide that moat is going to tell me how realistic their objectives or their goals and objectives are. So again, if it's just a short, something that's simple that can be filled in, great. We show them the strategies. Here's what we can do in order to accommodate these goals and these objectives. And if it means you got to work an extra 3 years or 5 years or 2 years or whatever the case may be, and maybe adjust the investments a certain way, great, we can get it. But if it's a situation where the moat is a wider divide and we got to fill in, we have to then have a sit down, a real discussion with the client, say, hey, look, how much you can close this gap realistically. And with that being said, some of these objectives that you want to achieve going forward, you're going to have to modify these things. So we really have to sit down and have a real discussion, figure out how wide that divide is, what we can realistically fill in, and then if we have to make adjustments to the goals, the objectives, or whatever it is, then we have a real discussion and make the modifications accordingly. But we'll take a look at everything. We'll look at the taxes. We'll look at all those different things and see where can we help, enhance what it is that, you're trying to accomplish.
When you think about that, the people that feel like, man, I'm not sure I've got enough, and maybe they do. I mean, a lot of cases, people come in and go, boy, Rick, I don't think I really got enough. And you're like, oh, yeah, you could have retired 3 years ago. You've won the game. We don't know that because we don't really know how this retirement game works. We've never retired before. Is one of the challenges because pensions have kind of gone away, and there is a major computer company in the U.S. that's going to quit matching 401ks and just instead offer a 5% retirement benefit. Do you think pensions would come back at all, or are they forever gone, even though a major company's doing that now?
What I can tell you is that the trend right now is that they're all going away, and I don't see them coming back. But here's what I tell everybody, or here's what I suggest. those of you that are doing your planning, assume they're not coming back and do your planning based upon that. If they end up coming, back down the road, super great, wonderful, but we can't put our plan together on an unknown. We can't plan our future based on something that might or might not be there. So nowadays, going forward, and I think most of the people that we run into, and even that call in from the radio show and all the rest of it, are coming to grips that, hey, the pensions that my dad or my grandfather had back in the day, those days are all gone. And the days of even working for one company for 20 years, 30 years. I mean, now, I know people that, have changed jobs like 10 times, and I've had clients of mine that are in the tech industry, and they tell me, hey, if they're with a company too long, that actually looks bad on their resume, because when they're going to apply for other jobs, it looks like they're not growing. They're not growing in that position. So the mindset of what was happening years ago is completely different today. And we do have to change our mindset about those things and control the things that we can actually control.
And you think about it, if you've had multiple jobs and you're not at your job, your 401k probably should not be there either. So if you have orphan 401ks, Rick can certainly help walk you through maybe the options that are available to you. And if you're over the age of 59 and a half, you can do that in-service distribution of your 401k while you're still working. You're going to work for another 5 years, 8 years, whatever. Take advantage of the company match. But you have the opportunity to move your 401k to an IRA where you have more options. Not everybody should do that, but a lot of us probably should. If you have any questions about any of that, call Rick and the team at Safeguard Investment Advisor Group. It's 800-700-1980. There's no cost to you. There's no pressure. There's no obligation. 800-700-1980. How often do people come in, Rick, that are planning on moving? Hey, Rick, we're going to retire and we're going to move. Because of the housing market, it used to be you could downsize, you'd save a lot of money, throw the excess from your home into into your retirement kitty. Now that's almost impossible. You've been doing this over 20 years. I would think that's probably changed a little bit. We're going to move, we're going to downsize. Maybe that's not as often as what it used to be.
Being in California, I'm actually seeing a lot of it, whether it's people moving to go out of state, out of California, or keep in mind, Mark, I deal specifically with retirees. So some of them are downsizing in the sense that maybe they don't want a 2-story anymore. They're like, hey, listen, I need to go down to a 1-story because I don't know if I'm going to be able to climb these stairs anymore like I used to as I get older and older. It just seems, and especially lately in the political environment that we've had over the, last 8 years or so, whatever the time period has, more and more people are moving out of California. So we're getting a lot of that. And then it seems like I'm getting a lot of people that come in and they're telling me, they're like, Rick, you know what? I'd be out of California. The only reason why I'm staying is because, my grandkids are here, my kids are here. Otherwise, outside of that, I'd be out. And then, of course, the other thing would be because of medical, they're trying to, just head it off at the path that, hey, after a certain age, if you got bad hip, bad knees, bad this, bad that, maybe, it's better to be in a 1-story, something a little bit, and something small that's easier to maintain. So I am definitely seeing more of that than, let's say, compared to 10 or 15 years ago. Huge difference in numbers in that area.
And one of the things that I think so great about your process, the big picture blueprint that helps people get some direction in their retirement, some clarity to their retirement picture, is that you're looking at all those areas: income, investment, taxes, healthcare, legacy planning, Social Security, Medicare, all those decisions we have to make. But at the end of the day, it's about you creating a plan for yourself and not letting Washington or Wall Street dictate what you're going to be able to do in retirement. It's kind of the same thing in California. Come on, we got oceans, we got mountains, got beautiful golf courses. Forget the politics. Let's just enjoy the state we live in. It's just a weird time, Rick. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, totally. I agree 100%.
Because I know you used to be a big scuba diver. Do you still do that?
Yeah, I do time to time, especially mostly on vacations, I'll go and do it because nowadays it's hard for me to find a dive buddy, locally.
Because your wife, Shauna, is not going to do it with you, right?
She's not. Yeah, she doesn't even do snorkeling. So I guess I don't know if she's just afraid of the water or whatever. But yeah, so no, I do a lot of it. And I don't want to say a lot of it, but when I do go on vacations and, I'll definitely go take a dive, whether it's Bahamas, Hawaii, wherever. But I definitely enjoy doing it still, even though locally it's hard for me to do because I don't have a lot of buddies that are divers and it's hard for me to pair up with guys. But other than that, yeah, I do love it.
So do you ever go the other way and up into the mountains to ski?
No, not at all. Zero.
So you're warm weather all
when
the
I
way.
when I was younger, I did. And then later on, I just didn't. I don't know. I'm not a big snow person or a cold weather person. So I'm more beach, camping, but when I do it, the weather is generally nice. When my wife and I go camping, we're going along the coast in California. We'll start off here in Southern California and go all the way up the coast, up to Monterey, Cambria, those areas. So in December, we have good weather compared to the Midwest and things like that. So yeah, so we try to
Take advantage.
Yeah.
Take advantage of the weather. So, all right, if people have questions about anything, retirement-wise, income, investment, taxes, healthcare, legacy planning, Social Security, taxes, all that stuff, what do you always tell people that if they come in, give you 45 minutes and you'll what?
Give me 45 minutes of your time. I guarantee you within that time, I can give you 2 ideas that will enhance whatever it is you're doing. It'll cost you nothing to do. I've been doing this long enough, and absolutely feel free to take me on that offer.
So a 45-minute conversation with Rick and the team at Safeguard. He's guaranteeing you that he will give you 2 ideas that will enhance whatever it is you are currently doing. So that's one of the great things I think about just having a conversation with a retirement planning team like Safeguard Investment Advisor Group. There's so many areas of retirement that maybe we're not really prepared for. We think we've got enough. We hope we've got enough. We hope our money lasts as long as but we don't really know. This is your opportunity to find out where you are, and maybe you won't become a client with Rick and Safeguard, but you're going to leave that conversation, whether it's on the phone or in person, you're going to leave that conversation with a better understanding of where you are on that road to retirement. Again, the number, there's no cost to you. It's 800-700-1980, 800-700-1980. This is a great opportunity for you to get a little clarity into your retirement picture, I think. And I think you'd rather find out some of this stuff before you got into retirement rather than after. But if you're already retired, Rick's here to help. 800-700-1980. Back with more of the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group right after this.
Are you taking on more risk with your savings than you should? Find out right now at safeguardinvestment.com. That's safeguardinvestment.com.
Imagine for a moment that an intense storm is pounding your house. Will your roof leak? Will the siding peel away? Will your basement flood? If your house is properly built and maintained, you'll be fine. But what about your 401k or your investments? The stock market has had a great run the last few years, but is its current turmoil making you feel uneasy? Are you confident your portfolio is built to weather a financial storm? Now may be a great time to have your retirement plan inspected. Call Rick Rivera at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group at 800-700-1980 now. Rick will examine your portfolio and show you if your investments are in need of some weatherproofing. Call Rick Rivera at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group today, 800-700-1980, to have your retirement plan inspected at no cost to you. Don't let your retirement get caught in the rain. Call 800-700-1980. Investment advisory services offered through Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor firm. Investing involves risk.
It might ramp up, or it could slow down, but inflation never goes away. Do you know how it could impact your retirement savings? Find out by calling Rick Rivera at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group today, 800-700-1980. That's 800-700-1980.
Welcome back to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. Rick has over 20 years of experience in the financial world, and the team at Safeguard is here to help you create your very own big picture blueprint of retirement. It's going to give you direction and clarity into your road to retirement. It's all about you. How much income do you need? What's going out? What do we owe? What do we still have to pay off? Where are we? How much income do we need? Can we create that? What about our investments? Too much risk, not enough risk, the right amount of risk. Taxes, boy, that's a huge, huge thing moving forward. Over $34 trillion in debt as a nation. So that is not anything that's going to be lessening at any time, I don't think, in the near future. Taxes going down. We will certainly see. And then, of course, healthcare, long-term care, legacy planning, Social Security, Medicare, all those decisions. You can always call Rick. 800-700-1980. 800-700-1980. And he says if you give him a call, he's going to, in a 45-minute conversation with you, he'll give you 2 ideas that will enhance whatever it is you are currently doing. That would be great. Get a couple tips that actually help your retirement picture. 800-700-1980. You know, there for a long time, Rick, the number one fear of retirees was the fear of outliving their money. Do you still get that from people that come in, prospective clients?
100%. And it doesn't matter how much money they have. They can have, a ton of money saved. And I think one of the biggest fears is regarding outliving their money is even if they have a lot of money saved, is they're like, hey, listen, I know I have X amount right now, but I got to make this last 20, maybe 30 years into retirement. Is it going to last me that long? And, especially with unknown factors such as tax, they know, hey, they're confused. How much? I know I'm supposed to get X amount of Social Security, but how much is Uncle Sam going to take away from me? And then on my pension, I know I'm supposed to get so much on that, but how much is he going to take away from there? And then my investments, my IRAs or 401ks, a lot of them are concerned. They know marginal rates may potentially be going up in 2026. And you just mentioned earlier yourself, you said, hey, look, there's $34 trillion in debt. One of the biggest fears that they have is they're like, listen, we know if they plan on doing anything about this debt, they're either going to have to raise taxes and reduce spending, one or both. More than likely, they have to do both. And if they're going to raise taxes, they're worried that they're going to come after the retirees because they're one of the ones that have all the money. So yeah, that's a huge concern going forward for many people that we meet for the first time. Absolutely.
So what are some of the strategies that you use with clients that are concerned about outliving their money? Because there are ways you can set up, different tools in the retirement tool belt that can guarantee them some income, I suppose, for the rest of their lives. I mean, you work in the market world, you work in the insurance world, and it's really the challenge, I think, for retirees is trying to blend the growth and the safety, because we know we need growth because things are going to cost more down the road, but we also want safety. We don't want to go all in on black in Vegas.
Right. So, this is a very interesting question because what we have to do is, and this is something I talk about regularly, is that there's a huge difference between an accumulation plan and an income plan. And here's what I'm seeing that happens in the industry. Sometimes people will go to an advisor and they're coming close to retirement. And let's say a huge portion of the money is in the market. And they have, let's just say, I'm just going to throw a number out there, an 80-20 portfolio where they got 80% of the money in equities and 20% in fixed income. And now they talk to brokers, hey, look, I need to create income for myself that's going to last the rest of my life. And he says, okay, well, you know what we have to do is just reallocate this portfolio. Maybe we'll convert it to 60-40, drop down the equity portion and raise the fixed income portion. And then they're going to run you some Monte Carlo simulations telling you that as long as the market does this and that and the other, and you're pulling 4% out of your investments, the money's going to last you the rest of your life. Folks, that is kind of like making a square peg trying to fit in a round hole. And what I mean by that is this. When it comes to income planning, we have to put you in a situation that regardless of what happens to the market, you're going to be okay. Because if that accumulation plan works so well, some of you that are listening to the show right now, you know what happened in 2007. You probably had some colleagues that retired in 2007 when the market was peaking. And then in 08, 09, when the market corrected, some of your colleagues came back to work again. So if that accumulation plan works so good for income planning, why do they come back to work again? So this is a key thing that we have to stress, that there's more to planning than just, doing what we call proper asset allocation. So when it comes to creating an income, like you said, Mark, we need to make sure that income is locked in, it's secure. So that way, no matter what happens, if the worst case scenario happens and the market, drops 30% tomorrow, we know, hey, listen, my income is secure, my foundation is secure. I don't have to worry about pinching pennies, at the grocery store. I'm locked in. And once that income is secure and your foundation is locked in, now your market investments you can leverage in your favor, because now you're in a position where your market investments, you don't need that money to live on. So if you don't need that money to live on, when the market goes down, that's actually going to pose opportunities for you, where now you can actually, instead of selling like everybody else, you're picking up blue light specials, clearance sales, getting more shares in, at cheaper prices, and also possibly doing Roth conversions much more efficiently, and a variety of other things. So now by designing the plan in this way, when there are down markets, you're actually not nervous at all. Because you have a plan and a strategy, you're actually looking at down markets as an opportunity. You're like, oh, this is good news, not bad news. So it's a whole different methodology, accumulation planning versus income planning, for sure.
So if you'd like to chat with Rick about any or all of that, at Safeguard Investment Advisor Group, it's 800-700-1980. Again, complimentary, no cost to you, 800-700-1980. So that big picture blueprint that you walk your clients through, and it's not like they come in and say, here's all the stuff I've got for retirement, Rick, come up with a plan for me. No, you got to talk to them. You got to find out their hopes and dreams and what they're going to do, how they're going to spend their time. How do you put all of that together, that big picture blueprint for your clients?
It goes back to what we were saying earlier, in the show, where in order to put that together, that's where I actually literally have to say, okay, where's the client at now? Like I was saying earlier in the show. Then once we understand exactly how they're positioned at this moment, we're going to ask them precise questions and figure out, okay, what direction do you want to go? Where do you want to be? Because once we find that out, then we can figure out what's important to them. That way we can talk about things that are important to them rather than a bunch of things they could care less about. And then what we do is we start drawing, for lack of better terminology, we start drawing out a roadmap on how are we going to get to where you need to be and give you the confidence that you have this plan. Because it's one thing for someone to win the comfortable retirement, Mark, but it's another thing for them to actually believe it themselves. Because there's so many times where, I'll get people that'll come into me and let's say their retirement planning is perfect. They've done a fantastic job. They got the comfortable retirement, but they're still nervous. What we do is we educate them and we show them in black and white, hey, here's why you're okay. Here's why you don't need to worry. And if we have to make some adjustments, we can make those recommendations to make sure that they don't have to worry. So that way that from a professional, they can see, okay, they can take a deep breath, step back and realize, okay, now I had a second opinion and somebody actually showed me why I'm going to be okay. Now, for those that are going to need a little extra help, we can say, hey, look, now you have a team member on your side. We're going to look at the investments. We're going to look at taxes. We're going to look at your Social Security. We're going to look at your pensions. Some of you might be on the windfall. We're going to say, hey, here's what you need to take in consideration here so you're not hit with any surprises. We're going to look at scenarios where if one, God forbid, one spouse predeceases the other and we're going to lose that Social Security check or a pension gets cut, we're going to have a plan in place so that way you don't have to worry about the surviving spouse being cut short either. So we look at all these different dynamics and even things that maybe you never even thought about to think of. We're going to share those ideas with you so that way when you go into retirement, you're not going to get caught by surprises because literally probably 80% of the stuff that we share with our clients, that we share in our practice are things we've learned from our own clients over the years based on their experiences and what we've seen them go through. So it's definitely a process. So if you'd like to know about any of these things, just give us a call, 800-700-1980, and we can give you specific information on your situation. Again, 800-700-1980.
You're tuned in to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. For more information on the Safeguard Investment Advisory Group team, visit safeguardinvestment.com. That's safeguardinvestment.com.
Firm offers insurance services. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC is a registered investment advisory firm. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Safeguard Investment Advisory Group LLC. This radio show is a paid placement.
According to the U.S. debt clock, in the time you hear this commercial, our nation's debt will go up by $1.5 million. That's more than $2 billion a day. Right now, our debt is over $34 trillion and climbing fast. The question is, how do we pay it off? One of the most likely answers is increasing taxes. Now think about your retirement accounts. Do you want to pay taxes on some of that money now when rates are historically low, or later when rates are potentially higher? Whether you should pay taxes now or in retirement depends on a lot of things. Rick Rivera and the team at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group know what to look for. Rick can help you create a plan so your retirement is as tax efficient as possible. Call 800-700-1980 to set up a tax strategy session with Rick Rivera and Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. When taxes go up, will you be ready? Call now. 800-700-1980. Investment advisory services offered through Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor firm. Firm may not give tax advice.